all started, what, 2009? Yeah, 2009, that's when it got dark still.
At about 3 o'clock, a silver Range Rover came in from this road here. The occupants got out and started shooting indiscriminately, and 14-year-old CJ was shot in the head.
It's a straight 16, this is how we do it in the 6. Come on, fam.
Come here! Where are you ducking at? Come here!
Video saying we'll take on that gang there, we'll have a challenge with that gang, and it gives young people the sense that it's somehow normal to be in a gang. It's stopping that sense and saying it's not normal, it is unusual.
For longer than a decade, the borough of Newham has descended into one of the worst cases of back and forth gang violence the nation has ever seen. Since 2009, this East London borough has been divided by one line, Northside Newham and Southside Newham, with Northside comprising of areas like Forest Gate, Stratford and Plaistow, and the Southside with Custom House, Canning Town and Beckton, only leaving a few grey areas in the middle, mainly populated by the borough's large Asian community. And nowhere in London has such a small divide caused as many problems as in Newham.
This is real life. This is our real life. Like, this is our area. This is our real life. This is people that we've grown up with. This is people that are friends, family, associates. We don't want to be here. Like, we don't like Newham. I'm sorry, I don't like Newham. Like, I don't like Newham.
It all started in 2009, when 15-year-old Stephen Lewis was stabbed to death just outside of a charity event in Plaistow. At least 20 boys from Custom House surrounded and stabbed him in front of hundreds of partygoers, causing a crazy storm in the borough. Stephen was from the north side of the borough, more specifically Plaistow, and this caused all of the north side to now actively war with Custom House located on the south side. The death of Stephen drastically changed the borough. Before this, Newham's divisions came in the form of grime crews, battling at events with minor scuffles in between. But after Stephen's death, the culture shifted. Music became much more violent, direct and area orientated. The music became such a big part in the divide that the Newham Council became one of the first in London to actively start taking down gang videos posted on YouTube. And colours became an even bigger problem. Gangs around Newham began flagging colours based on their areas and cliques.
In the last 12 months, the rate of violent attacks here has been almost 2.5 times the national average.
Green bandana basically stands for the front line of Plaistow, Green Gate, innit?
We're not like these other guys that are wearing red and blue.
Yeah, we don't
from
do
America.
red or blue.
Like, we're in England, innit? Yeah, we've done our own thing, innit?
Which became such a vivid issue. Schools started banning specific colours from school campuses, but it soon became clear it will take much more than this to keep school kids away from the violence. In the early hours of the 4th of July 2010, 16-year-old Alton Campos de Oliveira was riding his bicycle through East Ham, a safe zone area in between Northside and Southside Newham. Alton repped Custom House on the south side, but went to school in Forest Gate on the north side, which made him well known to Northside Newham school kids. So when a mob of Northside youth spotted him going home from a party, they pulled him off his bike and stabbed him a total of 10 times, leaving him for dead. Newham was becoming tense. A lot was going on both sides. In the following months, each side took big losses, with Black Dan and Sammy Guns both losing their lives in situations unrelated to the divide. But it was about to get a lot safer in the borough. The 2012 Olympics was coming to Stratford, and suddenly Newham Council had millions of worldwide visitors planning to visit the borough, while having a massive gang problem at the forefront of their issues. This led to the biggest police operation in peacetime Britain. For 105 days, Newham was in relative lockdown. For locals, certain streets were closed off. Armed officers patrolled the streets. Gatherings were dispersed, and many locals couldn't enter certain areas without being ID'd. Cameras were plastered across the borough, as the borough prepared itself for their biggest footfall in history. Some locals protested, while others spoke out in documentaries, and stuff was about to get more tricky.
Security at Westfield in Stratford has been questioned today after a man was stabbed to death in front of shoppers only yards from the Olympic Park.
Just weeks before the games were about to start, yards away from the Olympic Stadium, a Northside Newham local is stabbed to death in front of thousands of shoppers inside the borough's new £1.45 billion shopping centre. People were shocked. The Olympic Games was designed to change Newham's destiny, from a gang-infested borough to a tourist hotspot, but stuff was about to get a lot worse. The next to lose their life was a young rapper ex-footballer from the Northside called Champion Gander, who was stabbed 11 times right outside of a primary school. But what was about to happen next would push Newham's story far beyond East London. In the mid-2010s, a new sound was emerging, built on Afro beats that would hit an international stage. It all started with a rapper fresh out of Custom House called Mover. He mixed the realities of the Newham streets with messages about money and girls to make some of the hottest tracks to come out of East London. But Mover was no regular rapper, he was a straight crash out. In July of 2014, him and a few other Custom House members travelled nearly an hour to Hendon, where they broke into a property after receiving intel of cash being at the premises. They left empty-handed, but the next day they returned, giving it another unsuccessful try to hit big, and found a Lithuanian builder walking with his father with a Rolex on his wrist, which would turn out to be fake. The group surrounded the pair, took the Rolex and stabbed the man twice and left him for dead. Mover was sentenced to 30 years for the murder and 10 for the robbery, leaving behind a massive catalogue of music for the streets. But two Newham locals was about to take Newham's music scene to the next level. A rapper from Stratford was taken over, going by the name of J Huss. But J Huss wasn't the only rapper from the borough catching momentum. On the other side, a rapper from Custom House called Kojo Funds was also doing it big, releasing songs like Check and Warning, garnering hundreds of millions of streams across platforms. Both artists were hitting the mainstream, and to most listeners it just sounded like a couple of young artists making good music, but in the background it was more sinister. Each release contained subliminal disses to each other's sides. Songs like My 9 from Kojo Funds, which amassed tens of millions of streams, sounded like a love song to the average listener, but the track was laced with disses, talking about his rivals running when they see him, with known gang members serving as background men in the music video. 9 times out of 10, listening to both artists, you wouldn't even know they were fierce rivals on the streets, until J Huss posted this picture onto his Instagram, on a hospital bed after being stabbed 5 times by Custom House members. In the picture, he throws a gun sign to a C, a clear diss to the Custom House gang, and shortly after, Custom House rapper Kojo Funds would release a song called Ariba, mocking J Huss using the picture of him in hospital as the cover art, while making references to his stabbing amongst other disses to dead Northside gang members. In response, J Huss released a diss back, mocking the time Kojo Funds ran from his gang, leaving his friends to get attacked. Both tracks made Newham volatile. Shootings and stabbings were happening on a weekly basis. Stuff was getting so crazy, members even started carrying acid on them. But no one could foresee just how crazy it was about to get. In 11 months between April 2017 to March 2018, 6 Newham gang members would be brutally murdered, starting on the 2nd of April 2017, when Ahmed Jar from the Southside of Newham was stabbed inside of a shop on the front line of Custom House, Freemasons Road, just minutes from where his younger brother would also be killed afterwards. This started a string of back and forth murders that seemed like it would never end. 5 days later it happened again, a mere 9 minutes from where Ahmed was killed. 16-year-old Kareem Sams was shot in the chest and killed by these 2 gunmen, who parked up a Nissan Juke, got out, and casually walked up to Kareem and his friends to let off a shot close range. The next to lose their life was a young man completely uninvolved in the feud, called Abdul Manaja, a former head boy in his school who had dreams to be a pilot for the RAF. But while driving his friend home, he parked up on Wall Street in Stratford and was approached by these 2 men from Custom House, who shot him with a shotgun believing he was a Northside gang member. But the next murder just showed how out of bounds this feud really was.
14-year-old Corey Jr. Davis shot dead in a playground in broad daylight in Forest Gate last month.
As described by his mother, Corey Davis was a troubled youth. She noticed her son getting involved in the wrong crowds and made multiple pleas to the council to get her son out of the area, but her pleas fell on deaf ears, which would soon prove to be fatal. At approximately 3 PM, this stolen Range Rover was spotted driving around key gang spots in the north side of Newham until they reached the playground in Forest Gate, where 14-year-old Corey Corey and his friends were standing outside of. The group knew something was up and dispersed, but Corey, only being 14 years old, froze, causing him to get shot in the head with a shotgun. The murder of Corey came in the same week of Southside Newham rapper Young Diz being shot and stabbed 11 times, in an attack that was a miracle to survive from. But this attack didn't make Young Diz shy away from the spotlight. Not long after the murder, Young Diz uploads a song called Kermit, a direct reference to Corey's murder. He begins the song saying he got stabbed by some half-hearts, but in the same week 2 people got shot in the head, so he doesn't care. But the killings didn't stop there. In the next year on Valentine's Day, Promise Nakenda found himself to be the next victim. While walking through Canning Town, this BMW plowed into him before 5 teenagers jumped out and stabbed him a total of 15 times. On a day the average person would typically choose to spend with their loved ones, Newham was becoming lawless. Even people on the same sides were killing each other, like Jordan Ajabo and Reese Tashoma, both Southside Newham gang members killed by their own friends due to money disputes. After Reese was killed, his brother Kevin and another was even seen later trying to get revenge on the man that done it, before being stopped on the A13 by armed police, who discovered a loaded shotgun, revolver and machete all packed inside of their VW Go. And while all of this was going on, the music scene was going off. The times of Kojo Funds and J Hus slipping subliminal disses and Afro swing songs were done. The soundtrack for Newham was now drill, and on the Northside a big artist was emerging, a mysterious masked up drill rapper called CB. CB's music was violent and explicit, and on the streets his name was ringing, with rumours flying around he was the one who killed Ahmed Jar in 2017. On the south side, Young Diz was blowing up, dropping tracks like Draw and Repent and Time Will Tell. The drill tracks made the feud look appealing, and for many kids growing up in East London, it was something they wanted to be a part of. Suddenly you had school kids from areas like Barking and Dagenham, Havering and Redbridge claiming Southside or Northside Newham, causing a storm on social media, posting videos on each other's blocks, calling out ops on Snapchat, and raising absolute hell on the streets of Newham. One of the boys who got caught up in this hype was a 16-year-old called Raheem Anderson from Romford, who repped the south side of Newham, who despite being on tag which tracked his movements, travelled to the Chad Green estate, where he brutally stabbed an 18-year-old called Santino. Northside Newham gang members said that Santino wasn't involved, but that didn't stop Raheem bragging about the murder in prison, and another gang member from Canning Town posting a video of himself peeing on his grave. It was evil. But while Santino's affiliation is still left to speculation, David Gomez wasn't. On a random evening in the height of COVID restrictions, university graduate and NHS worker David Gomez was walking to the local shop in his area of Canning Town when he encountered these 14. Flying out of a stolen Dodge Caliber with bad intentions. Just before this they chased another man, but he got away, and they would not let that happen again. They chased David and savagely stabbed him to death, despite David having absolutely no involvement in the feud. One of the killers afterwards even drew a story about the murder, depicting the exact events that can be confirmed through CCTV. The violence in Newham has been endless. In recent years, we have even been seeing both sides turn on each other, breaking into smaller cliques, creating even more turmoil, resulting in the murder of Stick Up on the north side, and diss tracks on the south side like this prison freestyle by Young Diz, where he says the area of custom house isn't putting in enough work for the south side. This freestyle was recorded while Young Diz was serving a 12.5-year sentence for the kidnap and torture of a 16-year-old boy, who was held in a room for over 2 hours, where Diz and others shaved his hair, forced him to eat cannabis, poured boiling water over his head, while forcing him to call his mum for £1,500 for his release. It's safe to say Newham is not for the faint-hearted.